first we need to create a type. So we need to have a type in OCS which has these properties: timestamp, temperature, wind speed, and predicted active power. We need to have a new OCS type. Then we need to have a new OCS stream based on this new type. And then we need to send the values to that new stream. So first what we need to do is create a new type in OCS. And there are two ways of doing this. So we can either use the UI. So we can either go to the sequential data store and create a new type. Now, if you want to do that, make sure you follow the naming convention in the workbook. So make sure you call this wind turbine predictions time underscore, and then include your initials and then the date you're creating this on. So in my case, it's the 30th of March. And make sure you use this format. So 4-digit year dash 2-digit month dash the 2-digit day. Okay, you can include a different name, but I'm just gonna copy the ID and use the same for the ID and name. And then you can specify a description if you want. So in this case, you can use what in the workbook. It's basically a time series index type with 3 values. So remember, we're gonna have 4 properties: time, and then 3 values. So one for temperature, forecast temperature, one for the forecast wind speed, and one for the forecast active power. Okay, so that's the name and the ID, and then you can specify the properties here. Remember, we need 4 properties. So again, you can use the UI, it's pretty neat. So you can say, so this one is air temperature. And the name is the same. For the ID, for the properties, it's not allowed to have space. So that's why we're using underscore here. And then in the name, you could have space, so that's fine. And then the type here. So this is the air temperature. So this is a double. You can also use single if it's float. So yeah, that's one of the properties. You can also add wind speed. You can also add predicted power. And you also need the timestamp. So if we put timestamp here, and the ID and the name are both timestamp, and then this is a date time, and this is the key. So that's very important, that this is our property key, which is the key is the timestamp, basically. So that's how you can use it using the UI. Now, I'm not going to create it using the UI. You can go ahead and do that. That's fine. But I'm going to use the script to do just the same thing we're doing here, basically. So you can either go with the UI or go with the script. And the script is pretty simple. So if we go back to the code, first we're connecting to OCS, just like we used to. And then this is where we're creating the new type in OCS. So here again, remember to, if you're going to use the script, remember to specify in the name of the type, and the type ID and name, remember to specify your initials and the date. So in this case, this is 2020, 30th of March. Okay, just make sure you put the initials and the date, just to make sure these are all unique, so that we don't overwrite other students' creations. We're also here creating the type, basically. So we're creating a new instance of a class, SDS type class. We're passing the ID, okay, which is what we specified at the top, and we're specifying a description in this case. and we're specifying what is the code type. Okay, so here this creates or prepares the type, the new type, and then under that is where we specify the properties. So first we have to specify the atomic types we're going to use. So what atomic types are, basically the unit types. So remember we're going to have these 4 properties. So one of them is timestamp. One of the properties are timestamps, and all the other properties are either double or single. So we're going to basically use 2 atomic types. One is date time, and the other is double in this case. So that's why here we're specifying those 2 atomic types we're going to use. So one uses the double type, and the other uses the date time. Okay. And then after that, we create the properties. So we have 4 properties. Each property, you can specify an ID and name like we were doing in the UI, and then specify the atomic type it's using. So in this case, air temperature, wind speed, and active power will all use the double type atomic type. And then time will use the time type. And we make sure time is the key. So that's why here we're specifying the time is a key. And then we add those properties to the type we've created at the top, which is here. So after having all these properties ready, we add them here. And then we call the OCS endpoint. We have a function called OCS client.types.get or create type. And this is going to create the type in the namespace ID we have under this, and it's going to create this type in this namespace ID.